Honorable Speaker and honorable members, businesses will be compelled to transfer these additional expenses to consumers, potentially resulting in widespread price hikes across various goods and services. This escalation in prices could lead to inflationary pressures and potentially restrain consumer spending. Additionally, such a price surges may provide opportunistic businesses with justification to inflate their prices beyond what is warranted solely by the fuel tax increase. The rise in fuel prices inevitably escalates production costs, as noted earlier, presenting challenges for manufacturers heavily reliant on diesel or as an auxiliary power source. The government taxation policies on fuel in Uganda reveal a glaring contradiction between its revenue generation strategies and its responsibility for citizens' well-being, as noted earlier in the Minister of Finance's letter. Despite being fully aware of the adverse effects of escalating oil prices on both production costs and individuals' disposable income, this government under President Yoweri Museveni Tibuhaburwa continues to burden its citizens with exorbitant taxes on fuel. Let me illustrate this point. To transport one batch of matoke from Chazanga, I have used Chazanga because that's where I was born. Just to transport one batch of matoke, it costs 3,000. The batch is at 13,000. And it costs 100,000 to transport a cow from Mbarara. 80,000 transport a cow from Gomba or Ngoma. Please know that the tax increase burden will be borne by the poor because the trader will factor in transport costs as he buys his matoke or cattle. Government should not be greedy. You are already overtaxing fuel. Why do you turn it into a soft target for tax increments all the time? This Parliament passed a law in November last year, 2023, giving government exclusive rights to import and supply fuel and petroleum products. Government promised that fuel prices will come down after the elimination of Kenya middlemen. Kenya has now removed the roadblock for Uganda to import fuel. Let citizens first enjoy low prices resulting from change of policy before you think of a tax on fuel. Let the prices come down first before any new tax proposal. We continue to warn this government that the consequences are there as fuel prices so production becomes more costly, hindering economic growth and potentially leading to job losses. Moreover, the average Ugandan faces a significant reduction in disposable income as higher fuel costs trickle down into increased prices for goods and services across the board. This scenario not only jeopardizes individual financial stability but also undermines consumer confidence and investment, exacerbating economic instability. The more reason why many businesses close every year. Furthermore, the lack of consistency and transparency in fuel pricing within Uganda reflects a failure of regulatory oversight. Despite being the responsibility of the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, there is a noticeable absence of effective intervention to curb speculation and ensure fair pricing practices. The result is an environment where citizens are left vulnerable to the whims of market forces and profiteering by fuel dealers. In light of these concerns, the government's insistence on maintaining or increasing excise duties on fuel amounts to a blatant disregard for the welfare of citizens. Such policies prioritize short-term revenue gains over the long-term economic stability and well-being of the population. Therefore, we call upon all members of Parliament to reject any further tax hikes on fuel. Tax on mobile money withdrawal. There is a 0.5 tax on mobile money withdrawal already. Government through this bill is expanding the net to include other platforms such as Mcash, MicroPay, Wave, etc. Before this expansion, government must present a study on how introduction of a 0.5 tax on mobile money withdrawal affected the population, especially the poor who receive money in this form. A 5.0% tax on withdrawal means a shillings 50 per every 10,000
It is
is 0.5.
0.5%.
This is what it translates in, a 50 shilling per every 10,000. Taxes must be introduced after a thorough study on how they will affect the economy.
And 5 is on the transaction value. Eh?
Yes, that's why it is a requirement under the Public Finance and Management Act to present a certificate of financial implication when introducing a bill. Do a study. Point number 7, tax on lime, adhesive and grout. We ask Parliament to reject introduction of a 500 per 50 kilogram of lime, adhesive and grout. While appearing before the committee, Private Sector Foundation reminded members of Parliament of a 2.5 million housing deficit in the country. The policy of this government is of a decent and affordable housing. Obviously, when you increase taxes on building materials, you are increasing the cost of construction. That's why you need to bring studies here, not speculation. This may discourage investment in this sector or may make renting very expensive. Again, we plead with this government not to look at one side of revenue enhancement, but also look at the plight of its citizens. Tax on drinking water. This is a tricky one. The tax rate of 10% already exists. What the government, you stop giving money to Magora, if that's what you're asking. What the government is doing is to charge it per liter. What this means is that for every liter of drinking water that you buy, you will be paying, if we take the government proposal, 75 shilling. Those of you who are buying drinking water in a 20-liter jerrycan, you will now pay more because they are going to charge you per liter. Private Sector Foundation thinks, they appeared before the committee, that this will drive the price for a larger volume of water by about 95%. Currently, the more or the higher volume you buy, the less price you pay. With this new tax, prepare to boil your own water because bigger jerrycans are going to be expensive. We ask Parliament to reject it. Really, you want to charge drinking water? Finally, we advise government to realize, to relieve itself of pressure of seeking to overtax citizens because it wants to raise more revenue by responsibly using what it is already collecting. Government should reduce the cost of public administration considerably. It is the reason we welcome the rationalization of government entities. But as we were processing bills to reduce entities, and therefore money we spend on them, President Yoweri Museveni Tibuhaburwa was creating new staff structures of assistant RDCs and appointing them, including fellows like this one who exhibited his data bombs. We must fight all forms of corruption, including wasting taxpayers' money on useless ventures. And in this regard, the President must act as an example. A minister whose fuel is bought by the taxpayer must not increase taxes on fuel unnecessarily. Maybe we should stop fueling all government vehicles for the leaders to understand the pain that citizens go through fueling their own vehicles. Right, Honorable Speaker, that's the minority report, and I can understand why the chair said he had seen the others and he didn't see this one. I ask this Parliament to stand with the citizens.
Which
the chair of the committee.
Okay.
Yeah, not the chair.
It. That's why I called you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Katesh?
Speaker,
Katesh, first
let me
wait.
give information that is very important.
First, wait.
Chair, I want to state the following. That when they were increasing taxes on fuel, we have under paragraph 8 of Schedule 2 on page, some of them 5, 4, 5, 6, something. There are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Madam Speaker, Madam Chair, they have only chosen to increase tax on 3 items. And if I asked my brother Musasizi, why not all? And I will give an example. jet and aviation, it remained at 630. The reason you did it, if you increased, flights will fly to Rwanda, Kigali, or Kenya to fear. Then they come, maybe even they may not land here. Now you are going for soft points in life. And Madam Speaker, it is this is the reason why I agree with Honorable Mojo on the minority, that it is dangerous to really target only citizens. And the worst one is a paraffin. It moved from 200 to 500. Others were increasing by 100. This one was increasing by 300.
No, the 300 has already been rejected.
No, it hasn't.
No, we have rejected. We can't.
Okay.
Kerosene.
Okay.
Kerosene.
Okay, Madam Chair, if let us finish that.
Kerosene was rejected by the committee and even the other minority. So kerosene is not anything for discussion.
So Madam Chair, the other one of financial services, I want to draw the attention of members. They are saying 0.5% of the value of the transaction. Katesh goes to Bank of Baroda, he draws $500 million, they don't charge him. The villager goes to a mobile money, in his Ronco withdraws 1 million, they must charge 0.5% of that 1 million, and that's the capital money. If they were charging, the tax was on the charge, and at the same, having charged 0.5%, there will also be a charge of the person who is transacting in the money. So in short, that's double what? Transaction. And yet the Minister of Finance has worked on the issue of bringing this country to a cashless economy, which means people should transact using mobile money, should transact using cards, fuel cards. So even when you're talking of other service providers, that means if I take my credit card to a pump to draw fuel of 200,000, there will be a charge of 0.5% of the 200,000 of the fuel I've taken, and yet every liter I am paying already 1,450. So, Madam Speaker, this Parliament this time should review this. And my proposal here would be the charge should be on the tax should be on the fees, not on the principal value. Otherwise, that one makes other people better while disadvantaging others. Madam Speaker, Madam Chair, the final one, which I want to raise.
Honorable Nathan, the current law we have is 15% of the fees charged. It is on the fees, not the transaction.
Madam Chair, this is the law. It says 0.5% of the value of the transaction.
That is the bill. I am saying the Principal Act.
Madam Speaker, what you are
and
saying...
what we are saying, why should they change from what was there?
Exactly, that's what we are saying, that you don't go for a value. You go for what? A charge. The reason I'm saying this will increase the value to the value of the poor person who is going to draw the money from a mobile money or whatever, or who goes and pays a card and whatever. But yet it is 0.5% of the value of the transaction. Madam Chair, I want to conclude on the following.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the principle behind this proposal is to equalize those who transact using mobile money and those who transact using other platforms, specifically the agency banking. Madam, Speaker, why don't you let me first sub?
Let him finish.
Madam, we want to improve the proposal which the committee looked at as follows. Payment services of cash withdrawals provided through a payment system and includes all withdrawal services provided by a financial institution or a microfinance deposit-taking institution other than withdrawals at the counter inside a banking hall. Madam Speaker, what this means, if you use your credit card to draw fuel, you have not drawn cash. So that one is outside this provision we are looking at. It's not cash, it is only withdrawals of cash. And if you look at that book, this is consistent with what we provided for under mobile money. I thank you.
Speaker, I want to make it clear. I don't know if I'm reading a wrong law. Here they say mobile money transaction of withdrawal of cash is of the value of 0.5% of the transaction. That is F13. So that's number one. Number two, Madam Chair, which I want to put across as we're looking for that. Yeah, the other point, Madam Chair, agents banking. Madam Chair, give me agents banking. Agents banking is no different. Let me give an example. An agent of Centenary Bank, he is more or less the counter of Centenary Bank, but he is in Sironko Town Council. So there is no difference. You cannot charge, because again, you are telling me that somebody should get in a border to go to Mbale Town to withdraw. Agents banking, the agent is working on the behalf of the bank. So there's no reason, Mr. Minister, to bring again agents banking in this bracket.
Information, Honorable Nathan. Madam Speaker, the principle under which government enacted the law to create agency banking, it is to deepen what we call financial inclusion. And I'm giving Honorable Nathan information. To deepen and financial inclusion. My dear brothers and sisters and honorable colleagues, this agency bank has tried to create jobs for the youth. And the profit margin is very, very small, very, very small, let me tell you. And you need a big capital. You need a capital of 50 million shillings to get a smaller profit margin. And therefore, in fact, government needs to bring incentive so that we widen financial inclusion and have agency banking in more rural areas. Why are more people not in agency banking? Because the cost of transaction, the equipment, the facility needed, the security requires a big capital. And no, mobile money you can transact anywhere on phone, but agency banking you need security requirement. I tried to open agency banking for my community in the village. The banks require you to have a center, to have a camera, to have security moving money from the bank to those rural areas, and you need to have guards, you need big capital. Madam Speaker and colleagues, if we really want to create jobs and support young people and save them, there should be no tax on mobile money and agency banking. Honorable Nathan.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable Nathan.
I am giving you to talk.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Nathan. Right Honourable
Honourable
Speaker.
members, I'm not hearing you.
Right Honourable Speaker, thank you
Just
so
hold
much.
on. Honourable Kibalia.
Right Honourable Speaker, you had given me opportunity
Honourable
here.
Kibalia.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, for those that have taken time to study agency banking, those people make a very little profit. The only money they make is when the volumes are high. And the role agency banking has done in this country, it has really helped those that couldn't queue those long lines in banks. Two, it makes it convenient for you. Instead of suffering with long distances to carry money, you just move few steps. So we are wondering why government is every time. Last year, Right Honourable Speaker, you remember, we suffered with the government to fight the tax that brought on agency banking. I'm wondering why government is fighting to bring it back instead of promoting agency banking so that we open many outlets. So, Right Honourable Speaker, we request the minister to withdraw that tax that he wishes to put on agency
Thank
banking.
you. Katesh.
Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, I want to give information because I have carefully listened to Honourable Semuju, and he has invoked my statement. But the information I want to give so that people are not biased. Because if you don't have, I'm giving information. The information I'm giving, because the Honorable Semuju has given information
Honourable
about fuel.
members, have respect for each other. He is making a correction of figures.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I don't know if this is how we are going to proceed, but thank you. The information I want to give, because my friend here, Honorable Semuju, has given wrong information, and I must correct it. I have information for you to state here that in Kenya, the taxes are much lower than ours. Let me give information. In Kenya, they charge excise duty, they charge petroleum development levy, petroleum regulatory levy, railroad development levy, and adulteration levy. I want to give the total taxes charged. The total taxes charged amount to about 2,155 per litre, not 600. You cannot come here and give wrong information and you want to get away with it.
Madam Speaker, the
And I can lay.
the trouble is not listening.
No.
Honourable member,
We are dealing
where are you
with a
getting?
specific law called the
Where are you
excise
getting
duty.
that information?
And this information I am giving is from East African Community Tariff Regime as per 2023 on excise duty. So if you go into that, you'll even now look at the costs of transportation.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I have a press release from the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Agency in Kenya, and it has summarized the duties and the cost breakdown. In fact, for example, here we do not charge VAT on fuel. Kenya charges VAT. So the information I'm giving, Right Honorable Speaker, is that the total tax charged on a litre of...
Honourable
Let me give my information,
members.
then you give yours.
The way you like.
I am giving information about the total taxes charged on a liter of fuel compared to the taxes we charge on a liter of fuel here. Yes. Why don't you listen? Then you make your decision. I'm just informing you. So I have explained.
Honorable members, the information Katesh is giving is not for you to make your decision. It is just an information. And it's just prudent enough that you lend him your ears, even if your ears are blocked, but just lend him.
So, Right Honorable Speaker, Kenya levies about 9 taxes on fuel. And I have explained that when you add them, equivalent of Uganda shillings for petroleum, it comes to 2,155. The reason I'm giving this information is that Honorable Semuju mentioned that the taxes in Kenya average 600.
Tony?
Yeah, let us
Can I have Tony?
Madam Chair, let us make the record clear. Just make it just 1 minute, Tony. Madam Chair, the reason why we came with that value to be figures, just you know it, because there was already VAT. But if you just take simple numbers, if a liter is 4,000, the cost, VAT on it at 18% will be 720. So when you go and add on, they say that we should always just put a value at as per liter. And that's how it came up. And why you are talking of Kenya, and where you have to be careful, my brother Katesh, is that Kenya has very interesting taxes. There are those that are taxing to pay for the pipeline. For us, when we're buying our fuel, we already pay for the pipeline in the cost of the what? Or the fuel. Because for them, they have to put petroleum levy for purposes of the pipeline. Well, for us, when we're going to buy in Uganda, we buy it at a cost, but that cost includes that tax of the what? Of the pipeline. So what I wanted us to be careful is that you may not see some of the tax being brought here in clear terms, but already has been paid as a cost as we're buying the fuel at the border. So me, what I want to ask Madam Chair is that sometimes we do research and whatever. We would be happy to know the source of my brother Katesh, because he's talking of press release. No, me, I'm giving you information because I know the sector so well. And what I give you, I know, because I pay. So, Madam Chair, Tony, let me see.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members. Right Honorable Speaker, in the Committee of ICT and National Guidance, we had the opportunity to interact with the MTN.
Honorable members, listen to ICT.
We had the opportunity to interact with the MTN, Airtel, and looking at the charges on mobile money and also other online transaction companies that has come up here, more Pesa, more what. Now, when we're having a discussion with them, they were able to explain that their business has kind of gone down. That so many young people are getting out of business. And then the number of transactions have gone down as compared to before, when the tax was moved from 2% to 5%. Now, when we are asking them, now what do we do, charging the agency banking and all these other online transactions? Now, they welcome that, but only said, if the tax by government would only come down from 0.5 to 0.3, then you'll have widened the number of people paying tax. Many people would find it easier to transact on mobile money and all those other online transactions, and you would get more money. Because right now, we have reduced mobile money and all these other to petty transactions. 100, 200, 300,000. But if you are transacting 1 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, the charge is so high that people do it painfully. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I would think if the ministry had done a baseline survey, they would have actually captured how many companies are coming on board right now doing online transactions. Then you reduce the tax from 5% to 0.5 to 0.3. Then you get more people transacting on this online and you'll have created opportunity. So I would think for Parliament, we are doing this on behalf of the people. We are not the only people paying this, but there are people outside there suffering. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I think Parliament should ask the Minister to review this and we don't increase any tax on that. Instead, look for a way of reducing but widening. Then on fuel, Right Honorable Speaker, we are talking about increasing now additional tax on fuel. But who are the people who are going to pay this? Is not the people in Kampala. Everybody, whether motorcycle, whether generator, but at the same time, the cost is already high for fuel. And people are already complaining. And this law we are passing is for the people of Uganda. So the question is, are we listening to them or we are listening to ourselves? So, Honorable Minister, I think let's not over squeeze it even when somebody is saying, you are pressing my neck. Then you say, no, that's not yet even enough. You squeeze in more. This is my prayer that Parliament and government should sit and weigh the situation and take action. Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, the Honorable colleague has made very valid points. And I hope I got him very well. You see, the issue is many of our youth who operate mobile money, stores, they equally do agency banking transactions, majority of them. And there is an element of lack of an equalizer. What I hear from him is that rather than propose a 0.5%, what the telecoms proposed is that equalize for equally agency banking, since we do the same thing, and reduce to 0.3%. Just a moment, let me finish. So the proposal here, and indeed when we interacted with the telecoms and the banks, is that there is a tilt skewed to one side, disadvantaging telecoms, where money now, you get it through mobile money and then put it to the bank. And then the bank is not charged, and then this one is charged. So the purpose of this proposal, honorable colleagues, it was cause a level ground, as earlier said.
Madam Speaker.
John.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the taxes we are talking about, we should look at the list. Someone earning, say, $1 million shillings per month, the total number of taxes that is going to pay at the end of the day. It's a very long list. The money we are talking about has already been taxed from the onset, starting from pay as you earn, as you continue all the way to fuel and everything that we are talking about. Right Honorable Speaker, at this stage, in this state of the economy, nobody should be talking about an increment of fuel tax. Because we are affecting every single transaction that takes place in this country. When we increase a value on fuel, we are affecting every transaction that takes place. And this is why we are being unfair. We are talking about people who have already been burdened from the onset. At this level, I think it would be courteous to this country that we do not even make it sound hard on this platform that we are talking about increasing a tax on fuel. Let's first of all streamline the taxes that are in existence. If the chair of the committee could be courteous and list all the taxes an individual is paying in this country, we would be ashamed.
Feta.
Thank you, Right Honorable Chair. I would like to seek clarification from the chair to give me a difference between a teller in a banking hall and an agent bank somewhere in the village. What is the difference between a teller within the banking hall and an agent bank down in the village who has taken services closer to the people?
I would like to respond as follows.
First of all, I want to find out from the minister. Is an agent banker part of the bank, commercial bank or microfinance bank? Are you a minister?
Madam Speaker, an agent banker can be me, who is facilitating this business in the village. In other words, there is a difference between an agent banker and the bank.
Agent.
They are not, the two are not the same.
Honorable Minister, agent banking is simply a third-party banking. This is where our customers are able to carry out bank transactions at any of our contracted sent agent. Agents are selected and appraised by a bank. By a bank, then approved by Bank of Uganda.
Madam Speaker, what is the issue here we are dealing with? I come from Hamurwa. There is a trading center there. In this trading center, there is a bank agent. I think here we respect each other. Madam Speaker, for me to go to work to an agent banker in my trading center, I don't have to incur transport cost. But if I'm to go to Centenary Bank in Kabale, I have to board a taxi, put in time, spend a day going to look for money in the bank. What agency banking has brought are the services are now nearer to the people. So we are saying, as a result of this, people have benefited. People have benefited because the services are nearer. So when you derive a benefit, give us some small portion as tax. Yes.